twice that. And then if I need help from anywhere else, but it starts with that company, other companies, and then outside the hazard zone.
Are you bringing multiple, you know, like, so if you're sending in the guys off of like engine 4 in, would they also have like, or like your rig kit,
Yeah, any on deck units could bring, no matter what. Even if I'm on deck in a second company here, they've got to bring their airbag and air cylinders. What do you guys call you call it a rig bag, is that what your air cylinder is? See, we had two different ones, and then in Clay, all we have in our rig bag is just air transfer. So we call it the airbag. Bring in the airbag.
You have them on every unit, is that right?
Every unit in Clay. I don't know what they're doing in Phoenix now. I've been retired almost 8 years, but I'm sure they still have the rig bags on every crew. You guys have rig, air transfer on every?
trucks and
What if you had a mayday before the truck got there?
Just oil?
Use a
Spare airbag.
SCBA.
Spare.
Do you have the transfill stuff for it?
No.
It's almost, you'd have to bring in the engineer or the driver's SCBA,
Yeah.
wouldn't you? And then you just straighten out regulators, or whatever you guys use. But is that, you gotta noodle through the critical factors of that. And Clay, they had the airbags on the battalion chief race. That's the only people who had them, but after we went through Blue Card, they put airbags on every unit.
So with this scenario here, I mean, you know, we're still in this transition phase where, even transitioning just as on deck, we put a crew inside and we have a crew exterior on deck, kind of their RIT team. Here you have 9 people inside the structure doing critical functions before you have any on deck companies.
I'm covering all key tactical positions.
Before you do anybody out to, I mean, if you had 2 other critical factors in there, are you gonna be looking at 15 firefighters in there with nobody outside to rescue them? It'd be-
You got ladder 1 over here. So really, if you look at this, before engine 1 made entry, and ladder 1 right outside, I said, go to the roof, give the roof report. That constituted a 2 out. And this engineer and at least 1 engineer off the ladder. So those 2 would be doing that right now. I wouldn't say it on the radio, but are we fulfilling 2 out? Before anybody made entry through this threshold, we have the ladder there. And if you guys look at the online program and all the simulations that we do, before engine 1 goes into any burning building, ladder 1 is on the same. And also we consider any level 1 staged unit an on-scene resource. So as these units are level 1 staged, we consider those 4 out or 3 out or whatever they are. So once they're level 1 stage, they're on scene, and I'm gonna use so instead of doing this and covering those positions, if I get a mayday, I'm taking those level 1 resources and I'm plugging into that plant. Well, let's say I don't put engine 3 over here, and this fire flares up to where it's dangerous for these people in here. So what I wanna do is I wanna make it the least amount dangerous. I'm gonna cover all the key tactical positions, and then once I get them covered, I'm gonna start on decking people here. And if this person comes out and talks to the battalion chiefs and says, hey, we've got 4 or 5 work cycles before this thing's gonna be out. I'm gonna call for a second alarm, and how many on-deck companies am I gonna have around this? I'm gonna front load that thing. Every on-deck company, I'm gonna have a sea of air cylinders out there because it facilitates the recycle and getting people in and back on deck as quickly as possible. Yeah. And as soon, if I don't have battalion chiefs in place, when there's a mayday, I'm gonna plug them in as soon as I can. But in Phoenix, if there's engine 4 and engine 5, if there's that mayday, we had the task level discipline where these guys weren't gonna engage unless they were ordered in there.
In the original release of the engine 1 mayday, calls a mayday, is battalion 2 communicating with them, or is battalion, the incident commander, the communication for that, who's?
I am driving this down. We have a mayday algorithm. It's mayday, mayday, mayday. The firefighter gets a can on who, what, where. Who I am, and you'll see it here. And then once I process that, it could be, I got an entanglement, and what we need is just, our cutters won't cut it, it's thick wire, I need the bolt cutters. Well, instead of going to alarm right then, I'm going to do a quick fix, whatever I need. So it's going to be command engine 5. Did you copy the mayday and you know you need to bring bolt cutters in to assist engine 1 firefighter having a mayday? We got it. We're getting the bolt cutters now. So I would do that, and then I would call for emergency traffic. Be advised, all units 456 Main Street, we've got a Mayday, engine 1's firefighter is entangled. I've got engine 5 going in right now, a set of bolt cutters. Give me a second alarm, the Mayday, and we're gonna still remain in the offensive strategy. The alarm room repeats that back. Now I'm gonna go battalion 1 to Alpha. Alpha, go. You know what's going on, you got the Mayday and Alpha. Tell me what you need. And then I'm gonna support that on the back end. Now, they're gonna cut the firefighter out, so do I need a big bolus of anything else? But if they got a heart attack, fall injuries, a collapses that got on multiple people, now what is this person doing? They're getting EMS there, they're doing the back end piece of it, and they're leaving the details that actual Mayday and Alpha. So as I got division bosses, I'm gonna push it right down to them as quickly as possible. If I don't have these here, I'm gonna have to run the tactics of that Mayday in the buggy. And as soon as other battalion chiefs get there, or let's say this on deck unit, I say, the officer on engine 5, I'm making you Alpha. Move your crew up or whatever you do, and it's all depending on your staff levels. You know what's going on there, you start managing the Mayday. I need to plug that hole as soon as possible. And there's a variety of ways that you guys can do it. You have safety officers to respond. Hey, safety, now take Alpha, I got a Mayday and Alpha. So there's a lot of different ways that you can manage the division. But who's in the best position to manage the tactics of that rescue? Right there at division, if this person has to do it, it fragments it.
So once you have a division officer, division delta, the communications is from those companies back to their, not to command.
Well, now what I'm doing is I'm coordinating these two divisions together, their needs. Let's say they get them cut out and they're really low on air, and this is the closest exit. And they say, hey, we're coming out the Delta exit, we're not coming out Alpha. So then the BC would make sure that the Delta knew that they were going to get that Mayday firefighter. So it leaves the IC to be kind of the strategic umbrella while these guys are doing the tactics of managing that Mayday. Now, we practice all this. If I'm running out of air, when I call that, I need to call that Mayday as soon as possible. The sooner I call it, the higher my air levels are. It's 3 times to ensure priority radio traffic, but when we first started Mayday deals with Mayday, 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 and then the IC had to do this Easter egg, the command of the unit having a Mayday. Well, now we say, you declare a Mayday, do not unkey the mic. Because once you unkey it, you're gonna lose it. So keep your finger on the mic and give a CAN report. Who, what, who you are. You guys use, I'm Engine 1 Firefighter Smith. I am entangled and I am here. I'm next to the mezzanine. I need the bolt cutters. And bring in the airbag in case it takes a long time to cut this firefighter out. Now, if I'm the IC and I got a lost firefighter, I'm going to calm them down and I'm going to coach them on self-help. So I'm lost, I'm going to say, hey firefighter, just stay where you are, activate your pass, control your breathing. You know, we're going to get somebody to you quickly. So conserve your air, activate your pass if it's appropriate. Are you going to activate your pass on an entangled firefighter? No. And if you do, what it's going to do is it's going to make communicating in the interior heinous. So you I need, as I get that Mayday, I need to keep that firefighter on the radio long enough to figure out where they are and my incident action plan on how to address it. So once I figure that out and they need to turn their pass on, turn it on. But until I get that information, once that firefighter turns on their pass alarm, and I call, hey, command the firefighter Smith on engine 1 or battalion or Alpha's doing it, are they going to hear that? Their Maydays, their pass unit's going to be blasting their earlobes off. So once you tell somebody to turn on their pass unit, you're not going to have very good communication with them. So don't tell them to turn their pass unit on until you get the information you need to react to that Mayday. Other companies put the fire out. If you're engaged in firefighting activities, you are helping that rescue out by making it tenable. So don't disengage from a firefight. But can engine 2, is the fire out there? Fire control. And I got engine 3 in there hitting hot spots. Can engine 2 very easily disengage from that? Stay off the radio, Mayday priority and status change traffic only. This is what we do on every fire. Then we say, do not get on the radio unless you have mayday, priority, or status change radio traffic. So really, we're just reinforcing that policy that's already in effect for all hazard zone ops. Be prepared to assist if you're in a position to do so. A lot of times I'm going to engage if I'm not doing something, and then what's going to happen is that IC is doing that call for help order, is when they call Engine 2 is going to say, yeah, I'm with Engine 1 right now, we're helping untangle them or whatever. But I do not want to stop any life-saving actions. If you're a sector division, the biggest one here is do not flood the interior with resource. Get a CAN report and figure out what I need. If I blast them in there and they don't have bolt cutters, and then the needs come back when they get in there, we need bolt cutters, did I just burn that company? I did. 2, if you flood them with resource, we call it the Jumanji effect. It's like a herd of rhinos and a herd of elephants coming in there. So we're doing this rescue, we're packaging, I didn't call for any other resource, and all of a sudden 4 people show up, they knock me down, they fragment the rescue, everything was going really good. So do not send in companies unless they have the proper equipment and they have a rescue plan. You're going to reduce radio traffic, and you're also going to drastically reduce the potential for additional maydays. Clear, realistic objectives to the rescue teams. We had a lot of maydays in that first drill set because we told the rig companies, go in there and save Bill. At the air transfill, package them up and get them out of the building. So we had several companies running out of air 50, 60 feet from the entry point. Were those clear, realistic objectives to that rescue team? Will a company, if you tell a company to do X, Y, Z, will they kill themselves doing it? They will. So what you need to do is look at the stages. So Engine 4, go in there, find them, like you guys are saying, and give them air. Let us know, and then tell me what your air is, and I'll come in with another company to finish that rescue so I don't compromise you in the hazard zone. Implement, react to, and then reinforce the rescue efforts as required. Hopefully you'll never have to do what's on that page. Command, it's the same thing. If there's no divisions, you got to assign them early. But if not, you have got to manage that rescue. And we're saying no PAR policy will take effect. When we were doing the Mayday drills at the CTC, said, hey, you got to get PARs on all operating units. So we had a Mayday about after the first alarm was there. How long did it take for us to get PARs on all those units? 3, 4 minutes? So I'm not reacting to the Mayday, I'm getting PARs from all these other companies. So we say, we're going to a no PAR policy, and the only PARs that I want are somebody that doesn't have a PAR. And if you don't come on the radio and say you have a Mayday, I'm assuming that you have a PAR. Well, you'll get the questions, well, what if something happened to this company and the whole thing, they're all crushed? Well, I'm dealing with Maydays on a first come, first served basis. And if I don't know about something that happened, then I can't react to it.
When you sign that second division, or are you signing another radio channel?
No, we also same radio channel. Because I need everyone on the same radio channel so I can talk to those companies on the interior to see how they can help me. And who solves 80% of the Maydays? Those interior companies, and by me throwing them off the radio, then I'm losing that advantage and that helping coordinate that. So here's the stuff you're going to do. You're going to push it down to the division, and then this is what command's going to do to support that. You're going to expand the command organization. You're going to support the firefight, provide the required support work. But if you look at, remember it was soften the building? Does that have a whole new meaning with the NIST-UL stuff? Any opening that you make in a building, you should consider you're giving the fire more air. So softening the building has had a whole new meaning to us. Could you soften the building and create Maydays with flow paths? You can't, so you have to be very, very tactical on what you're going to open up during a Mayday. Well, here I got fire control. Can I open the whole thing up? Yeah, they found the fire, they put it out. Open up the whole building, ladder 1. You're going to do the treatment, and then you got to consider the medical and technical requirements. But if you have a collapse inside where you got to send in people with heavy rescue tools, you're in for a long day. Do you have a question like that? No? So we spent another 1.5 years taking that list and refining it, practicing it, drilling on it, and we said we're going to do another set of comprehensive drills. This shows kind of how the drills were set up. I'm gonna go to the next slide. These were just Phoenix Fire Department drills. We had 25, and it was during the summer. We had about 1,800 on-duty firefighters. We got 1,200 of them through, but everybody was on vacation. They abandoned Phoenix when it gets hot. So we had a pretty good attendance rating. 380 throughout all three shifts, engines and ladders. We didn't use any phantom companies. The rescue was, we started the call for help inside, and then we worked outside. Drill ran on one tactical channel. We renamed nothing, and the BC managed all division ops. We didn't call them rescue, we kept calling them alpha. 1612 was about the time the Mayday was transmitted, 40 feet off the line, no firefighter was more than 200 feet in the building. Time to locate the fire, 3:58, time for the Mayday out of the structure. The average was 12:18. So we almost cut it in half, our exit time. Shortest was 4:59. That was, I don't remember if it was the fallen harness or the chairlift. Were two bigger, I think they were on steroids. Two bigger firefighters just chairlifted the firefighter and they ran out of the building. And we did the same thing the first set of drills did. We had the firefighter that was running around. All of these stats are based on the down firefighter, unconscious. Number of companies, we went to 9. We had 0 Mayday firefighters running out of air. We saved every one of them without them croaking. We had 12 additional Maydays. If these would be drastically different if we took out the first 5 drills. Because the first 5 drills, they did once the division bosses heard Mayday, they had either 1 or 2 on deck companies, and they sent 1 or 2 in when they heard the Mayday. Both divisions did. So they flooded the resources. We had been practicing packaging. We didn't need those people to come in and help package. So what did they do to a rescue that was already taking effect by Engine 1 and Engine 2 coordinating on the inside? It interrupted, man. It lengthened the rescue times. And finally, it was the 5th drill. This guy came out, and he was kind of a senior captain, had a lot of juice in our system, an informal leader. He throws his helmet down so hard that the face shield explodes, and he does it right in front of his boss. And he is lividly pissed. His head's purple with veins coming through it all. His face shield shatters and a piece of plastic bounces up off the ground and it cuts the Italian cheese cheek. Oh. Woohoo! So those two are in each other's faces. So we're trying to get the aftermath of this, breaking these 2 people up. And we said, yeah, why are you sending them in like that? So the next 20 drills, we told everybody, the division bosses, when there's a Mayday, don't send them in. Wait for a need report from the inside of the place, and then send in as required based on the need report. So this time, if I just did the last 20 drills, this would be like 9:30, 9:45. And our goal through these drills was to get the rescues under 10 minutes. So we would have drastically reduced those. This would have been 8 to 7 firefighters. We would have reduced the numbers. This was, the first set of drills, this number was like 2,000. So if you showed up with the drill, the evaluator opened up your compartments, got in your cabin, and looked at your SCBA pressures. I'm thinking the first set of drills, you knew you were coming to a Mayday drill, and you showed up with an empty bottle. Well, do they check their stuff out? What happened if they had a fire in the morning? They're going to run into a burning building with 1,000 PSI because they didn't check their bottle. I was so happy when we correlated 1,200 SCBA bottles that we were almost at a full bottle. So our people were making sure that they showed up in the morning with morning checks, they had a full bottle. The first set of drills, the average exit pressure with a vibro alert going, where's the vibro alert? It was like under 300. So here we had a much higher vibro alert pressure. And then when we went on vibro alerts, we were about 1,000 pounds higher than the average exit pressure before the last set of drills. 16 drills require air transfer. So here's the 80-20 that we proved, is 13 using emergency egress bottle. Who did that one? A crew inside. Who did this one? Who brought in the rick bag? A crew outside. If you do the math on that, it's 80%, 20%. Do you guys do buddy breathing?
Nope.
You know, with the new standard, they still have that equipment on the SCBA's. And NIOSH, OSHA both wrote reports that they discourage that practice. Because a lot of times when people do it during actual Maydays, you have 2 dead firefighters instead of just 1. So I don't know what the verdict is out on it. Do you guys endorse that? I didn't like it, because ours, and I don't know if the new system's any better, we had Scott's, so we had the mounted regulator, and then there was a knuckle that you twist and you break it off. So you had about an 8-inch pigtail that the other person would take their cord off, it was about 3 or 4 feet, and they plug it into that. Well, now I'm following this firefighter out. Well, it's almost like I have a leash, and it's attached to my mask. So if he went too fast, it would rip the mask off their faces. So he said, we didn't like it, because it was, when we practiced it, believe me, we had a lot of masks that were ejected off someone's face, don't do it anymore. 20 drills, use on deck crews, again, let's take the first 5 out of here. So really, we had a quarter less. 5 on decks located down firefighter. This was the critical factor deal. This was Engine 1's firefighter, the first company in, and they couldn't locate their firefighter. Why? Because they were low on air. So they said, no, you guys got to come out of here. We're going to send the RIC units in here so we don't have 4 more Maydays, the on-deck units. So they were just replacing a unit that was low on air. 22, fallen firefighter, 100. They didn't exit on their own power. That was the one where they picked them up and ran them out. 12 additional Maydays. 3 companies accounted for 75% of the Maydays. And we all hire the same 10 people, don't we? So when Engine 46 showed up, did we know that it was going to be a long drill? The Strato Lounger companies, they average like 2 calls a shift. Did they go out drilling to fill their time? No, they sat around the station and watched TV and bitched about the fire department. So one of these companies the RIC crew would come in and had an air transfer. So the firefighter had air, and they said, okay, Engine 1, you got to come out. We got your firefighter air, come on out before you have a Mayday. They said, no, we're not coming out until Joe's out. Engine 1, you got to come out of here right now. The guy turned off his radio. So as Engine 1 comes out, their firefighter's nice and happy because he's alive. These guys are unclicked and are completely out of air, and they walk out of the hazard zone. That guy got some shifts off. I think in like World War II, what would they do to that guy? They take him behind the building and summarily shoot him to death because he disobeyed a direct order. It's insubordination. So side by side, this number is very conservative. We estimated that there was probably maybe 1,500, but that wasn't part of it we documented very well. 12, 80% ran out of air, 0. 1103, 358, 21 to 12. And again, we would get this half of this if it weren't for the first 5 drills. 12 to 9, 1 in 5 to 1 in 100. So we kind of said, okay.
So these are all drills oriented towards rescuing the stationary trapped firefighter.
Yeah, this is the
Because
down one.
the mobile disoriented firefighter skewed the data, but what do you guys do for that? Because the one that started this whole thing, you had one of each.
We kicked it out because the one that was mobile, we told them to activate their pass unit. The rescue times were minutes. And we said, in order for this to kind of match up to the other one, we're going to throw that out because those times were so good. We never lost a firefighter. And the ones that were mobile, we found them very quickly because now we had added ticks and other stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, the rescue times on those guys, most of the time they found them, they exited, they didn't need any other support, you didn't have to reinforce anything, you didn't need EMS. So we took them out so that the numbers would match just per down firefighter per down firefighter. But the mobile ones, we had a drill where, they call them the Grim Reaper, where there was an evaluator that would pick the crew that was going to pull the Mayday firefighter off. So this guy was going to be the lost firefighter. He's on the hand line, pumping his hose. They come, hey, you're coming with me. No, I'm not. You're coming with me. I outrank you, come with me. I'm not letting go of this hand line. This is 5 years of telling firefighters, do not let go of the hand line ever. I'm not leaving. Yeah, you are. You're coming with me. No, I'm not. Skip! They're trying to take me off the hand line! So now here comes company officer. You're not taking them. Yeah, we are, it's part of the drill. It's a drill, okay, we're taking them. Go ahead, take them. Let's get to where Rick is. So now they sit him down and he activates his pass unit. How long did it take that officer? I mean, it was a 30-second rescue time. We knew that we were hitting home runs when you took a 6-year firefighter and you had ingrained a set of task level skills into them that would protect them in a hazard zone. Because before that, what were we doing? We were getting off lines. It was a rodeo. It was a self-actuating event for us. We didn't manage air or anything else. Well, now when we said this is what we expect of you, I'm telling you, man, our task level discipline was off the charts. And we were a happy fire department. Everybody knew their role. It was no mystery on how to make anybody happy anymore. So I think it worked. The end. Hey, Frank.